Welcome back. I'm your host, Mr. Crawlings, and today we're going to get into a very heated debate across many platforms, and especially in the bearded dragon community. And that question is, can my bearded dragon eat pinky mice or hoppers? And the short answer of that is yes, they absolutely can. So let me explain and do a little bit of a disclaimer right now. I am in no way, nor will I ever consider or claim to be an expert of any one particular species of reptile. However, I will say that in my 25 plus years of keeping reptiles, invertebrates, and fish, that in my experience, bearded dragons can absolutely consume a pinky mouse. And when I talk about pinky mice and hoppers, I also want to mention that I am only talking about frozen, thawed pinky mice and hoppers. I do not condone nor suggest ever using live pinkies or hoppers for ethical reasons. Plain and simple. There are plenty of very good and reputable companies that provide frozen pinky mice and hoppers with the same nutritional content as the live ones. Now, with that being said, let me digress before I am chastised on the internet and YouTube as a whole. So please hold your comments to the very end of this video. When I say that a bearded dragon can eat pinky mice and hoppers, it is simply stating that they are able to open their mouth, ingest, digest to some success or failure the prey item, the mouse or hopper, and they are able to pass it. But let's get into a little more detail with that, and I'm going to try to sum up in best I can possible. As a bearded dragon is growing and it's in its juvenile stage, they do primarily enjoy insects a lot more often. Bearded dragons, primarily as juveniles, need that additional calcium and protein to build their bone and muscle structure as they grow and age. As they get older, even as young as 6 months, they'll start to be a lot more opportunistic, and they'll actually favor some leafy greens or things of that nature, like they would in the wild. These plants are going to provide moisture and fiber and additional vitamins and nutrients that the animal needs, that the bearded dragon needs to grow and develop healthy. It'll also aid with digestion and building up its natural immune responses. As bearded dragons age and mature, they undergo sexual maturity, and because their body isn't in a state of growth, they will not need to consume nearly as much animal-based foods as they will plant-based foods. We need to consider that insect prey items, the ligaments and joints and the muscle tissue within the exoskeleton of our insect feeders, is made up completely different of the muscle tissue and skeletal structure and tissues of a hopper mouse or a pinky mouse. Additionally, insects, generally speaking, are much, much lower in fat content than are mammals such as mice. Now, my bearded dragon Thorn here. Who's a big boy? There he is. Thorn, say hi to everybody. Hello. Thorn's going through a little bit of a brumation, and he is a little overweight, more than I'd like him, but he is he was surrendered to me, and his previous owner almost exclusively, I love you. Bearded dragons are so hardcore. His previous owner did feed him way too many hopper mice. Unfortunately, I was told the horrifying news that she was feeding him around 3 hopper mice a couple times a week. So he's on the mend. He is a little overweight. I'm hoping he doesn't have any internal issues, but I guess his tail was nipped as a baby, and he's also missing one of his longer toes, but he's got a good home here, and we love him very much. And actually, this is Thorn, everybody. So this is my son Zachary's bearded dragon. He always wanted a bearded dragon, and this person reached out to me, and they knew that how much I loved reptiles and how I work with reptiles, and so he came into our lives, and we're getting him better. So hopefully he doesn't have any long-term effects, but anyway. Is primarily on a vegetarian diet, meaning that he's always offered leafy greens, and I also shred up sweet potatoes and carrots and things of that nature for the moisture content, for the fibrous content, and I try to give him as much nutrient dense foods as possible. He is also offered dubia roaches, which are veggie fed, all sorts of the same things that he's being offered in his salad. So they're getting the same nutrient dense content as well, along with some oranges and apples and things of that nature to really boost their nutritional content. You should always gut load your insect feeders before you feed them to your reptiles. They're going to benefit immensely. We love our fat, happy little babies, don't we? That being said, there is nowhere near the same nutrient content in a pinky mouse as there is a dubia roach. On top of that, they are much more fatty. There are going to be some additional benefits to feeding a pinky mouse. Not only the fats, but the organ tissue, meat, liver, kidneys, heart, will have additional mineral content that your bearded dragon may benefit from. We want to make sure you're fat and happy, don't we? Who's your fat, happy baby? Who's your fat, happy baby? Who's your baby? You sweetie pie. Especially females that have just laid a clutch of eggs could benefit from a pinky or hopper mouse after she's laid a clutch. It'll help boost up their body's weight again and some of that calcium they lose during egg laying. Males, on the other hand, should never really get pinky mice, in my personal opinion, in my experience. But on a blue moon or a leap year, maybe, if you feel the need to spoil your baby, because everybody wants fat and happy babies, I don't see a problem with it. Bearded dragons don't eat cheeseburgers and french fries and drink gobble down sodas as much as we do. But I'm willing to bet that the same fatty liver diseases that they will suffer from with a specifically heavy rodent diet would be the same issues that we would on that diet of cheeseburgers and fries and soda. Alcohol and things of that nature would cause for a really bad fatty liver disease. But I digress. You can feed your bearded dragon pinky and hopper mice. Regularly as a food source? No. I wouldn't ever. As a boost or a vitamin type? Sure. To gravid females or females that have just laid. And another thing to consider when you're feeding high protein items similar to mice and things of that nature, their stool is already pretty bad as is. That's the elephant in the room. Everybody who keeps bearded dragons will know and understand that. If you add a higher, fattier protein source, it's going to be even worse. And we could go down the whole worm tunnel of, is your enclosure large enough and is your bearded dragon active enough? But we won't in this video. But for argument's sake, most pet bearded dragons don't get the exercise they should be getting that they would in the wild. The domesticated pets that we have. And in such, the probability of fatty liver disease by feeding your pet bearded dragon pinky mice is probably not the best idea. Just because they're not going to utilize all the fats and things that that animal is going to give them. And it could develop and form around their liver. So that's my piece of resistance. I hope you guys have found this informational. If you have, please give it a like and a thumbs up. If you haven't, give it a thumbs down. Please comment something below. Give me your take on it. I am always willing to add more knowledge to my repertoire as much as I want to share with you in these videos. And if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more of it in the future, please feel free to subscribe. And remember, if you guys keep it crawling. We'll see you next time.